What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with some big news involving NIO and the markets, especially as we approach next week, and what could be playing out as we see some new developments. But before I break into details information, before I talk about the pattern that's developing on NIO, let me just mention a few things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moon, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer is very soon, in just about 12 days from now. Anyways, for NIO, I just wanted to mention that we have a nice falling wedge-like structures developing right over here as we're continuing to fall. And we're going to be watching to see if we get a confirmation breakout above this, not only the wedge, but also above our 4.6 area. That's our 50 EMA to see if this could get a bounce or not. If we fail to do so, the chart is going to remain bearish. So we'll be watching to see if we could get that break. But generally and usually, these falling wedges do lead to bounces. So there's a good chance that could happen. This will depend on a lot of different factors. So we'll see if this ends up playing out or not. But I just want to call out that for next week, we have some very, very minor pieces of data coming out for Monday, just a bunch of bill auctions. Tuesday is just more bill auctions and then just some data from the Richmond Fed. For Wednesday, there's not really much coming out. We just have the S&P Global Composite data coming out. Not really seeing anything too crazy for the week. But then we have some GDP numbers coming out for Thursday, which will be very important, and PCE data for Friday. So Thursday and Friday are going to be the two heavy data days, and the first 3 days of the week are not too crazy, at least going into next week for economic data. For other pieces of news involving earnings, I just wanted to mention to everyone that we have Verizon announcing earnings for Monday, not to mention SAP and a few others. For Tuesday, we have Spotify, UPS, and Coca-Cola, not to mention GM. In the morning, not to mention Tesla, Alphabet/Google, and a few others after the market closes on Tuesday. For Wednesday, we have Ford and IBM and AT&T. Thursdays when we have American Airlines. Then Fridays when we have just a few more very, very minor ones. But like I said before, the most important day is going to be Tuesday because we're going to be having Alphabet and Tesla announcing their earnings. It's going to cause a big move, at least for these different sectors. I can't wait to see what ends up happening, at least for us moving forward. As far as NIO goes, I just want to mention that you're still getting a lot of recognition for the next power swap station being announced in Norway. So it's a good piece of news that has come out. And I can't wait to see how things kind of like develop from here. On top of this, there's also some news coming out that Sumitomo Mitsui, I may have said that wrong and I apologize for that. I don't speak Japanese very well, but it basically is a trust fund that has adjusted its position on NIO, and now it holds about 3.35 million shares. So it's getting a lot of headlines right over here. The reason why this is very important is we want to be looking at how things are kind of moving right over here, at least moving forward. They're filing a new form that shows that they sold 1.91% of their stake. Despite that, they still purchased about 1.75 million after the second quarter of 2019. They were holding it when it was at $66 per share, and they actually ended up seeing the share price dip quite a bit. And since then, they reduced their position to some small extent, but nothing too crazy. They're still holding up a large part of it. So that's a good piece of news, as they're still holding up a lot of their shares, and they're still very, very bullish for the long term of the company nonetheless. There's also news coming out that the volume was at about 22 million, so very, very low volume for NIO. And generally, we get low volume before a big spike in volume later on. Bank of America Securities has the same neutral rating, so there's not really much changing over there. So what do I see for NIO? It really depends on if this falling wedge plays out or not. This is typically a bullish pattern. So what is more probable is with us getting tighter like this. We were just getting tighter and consolidating before we saw this breakout from this wedge. And then if we do get a confirmation breakout, or if you want to break this resistance very close to where our EMAs are going to be, I think they're going to be in the 4.5s as time goes on, because they're kind of trending downwards. So we're going to be looking to see a move like this. Once we touch this EMA, once it kind of like trends downwards, can we get a breakout into mid next week like this to fill this imbalance? That is what these falling wedges typically lead to. So that's looking more probable. However, if we end up losing this support down here at 4.38, there's going to be a big dip coming all the way down to the 4.2s. That is a strong possibility. I don't favor that. I favor this trying to kind of rebound. I want to see if we could get a break from this falling wedge. So this does give us some hope for next week, and there's a good chance it might try to bounce. We'll see if that ends up being the case. As far as SPY goes, we've dropped really hard. So generally, when you get so much downside, you're going to be looking for a little rebound going into next week, a small one. And then we'll have to see if we continue lower after that. I think that we might retest 550 or so. And then if we fail to hold above that, we're going to continue lower. My target is currently at 542, all the way down to this imbalance. if not closer to where our 200 EMA happens to be around 540. So we are favoring a move all the way down to the lower 540s. We still look very bearish. We may get an initial attempt to rebound, just a small little dead cat bounce before we continue lower. That's what SPY is looking like. It still looks very bearish. For Tesla, the structure is more bearish because we lost our 50 EMA. We have to try to reclaim 242 to turn back up, but it's still looking kind of weak to me. And this chart is favoring a move back down here towards this 232 area. So it is looking a little bit more bearish. I'm favoring that a little bit more. So with that being said, there is a risk of some downside for Tesla. However, there's a big however, it's not guaranteed. I just want to mention to everyone that we're going to be watching other factors that are affecting us, not to mention the fact that we have earnings coming out on Tuesday. So we'll see if earnings leads to a big bounce or not. It could still rebound like crazy, could still see a big rug pull as well. It all depends on different factors, but I just want to make it very excuse me, I want to make it very clear that for now, approaching earnings, we look a little bit more bearish. We'll see what earnings lead to, at least for Tesla moving forward. For Nvda, we're dipping a little bit. Make sure you watch support at 116.5. If we lose that, we'll be dipping all the way down towards the 112 area, and then eventually down here to where this support was in 108. So we're looking more bearish from a technical standpoint. We got a nice double top like structure. This may lead to some downside. Turn bullish, you want to break past 122 and push it for 125, but this is favoring downside as a stronger possibility. For Bitcoin is trying to push higher. We'll be watching to see if we can try to push all the way up towards the 68,000 area. There's a strong possibility that this could be happening 68 to 69,000. It looks more bullish to me, so this favors upside. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. Let me just go over two more just to make this video kind of concise. QQQ looks more bearish. I think we're going to be testing 472.65 very soon, our 200 EMA. So look for more downside going into next week. And then we could get a temporary bounce off 472. So a little bit of a dip and then a bounce is very probable. And then we'll see if we continue lower later on. There is definitely more downside potential for this later on, but look for 472 to be tested, maybe a little bounce off that. Then we may continue lower from there. Aapl looks more bearish. We're rejecting off our 50 EMA. This favors a move back down here towards 222. If that fails us, I'll be looking at this previous resistance becoming support at 218. Apple's chart looks more bearish as we're making lower highs and lower lows. All right, so for NIO, we're in a market that's looking more bearish, but we have a falling wedge-like structure that's developing. I'm very hopeful that this does end up playing out and NIO gets a nice bounce, but just for confirmation, let's see if we can try to crack at least around 4.6. If we do crack that, then yes, this could try to bounce. If we don't do so, it is what it is. Just know that this pattern is typically more bullish, so I'm going to remain optimistic nonetheless and see how things end up developing. With that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next video. It's going to be on Sunday, by the way. So I'm not going to post a video tomorrow. I'm going to be kind of busy. I'm going to take a little break as well from posting videos for Saturday, and I'll be back on Sunday to give you guys another update on the overall market, what's happening to NIO, and how things are looking as we approach the day of Monday. All right. So with that being said, enjoy the weekend, guys. Hope you guys take care and enjoy what life has to offer. I appreciate all you guys so much, and I'll see you guys very soon on Sunday. Thank you and peace out.